Hello, everybody. It's Jay with Guilty of Crime. How is everybody doing today? Let's get over this way a little bit, and hopefully my volume is okay. Let's go a little bit more. All right. So today we're talking about Christina Lubin. Who's Christina Lubin? That is, it's Kayla Montgomery's mom, or Adam Montgomery's mother-in-law. So everybody says it a little bit different, and we're gonna say it like that. Christina Lubin, she speaks and then she testifies. So we are going to watch a couple of videos. I don't know who's seen what, but this is day 5. And day 5, she testified at the end of the day. I have that in the bottom. If you look in my video, it will show the link to the full day. So if you haven't caught up, then you can do that. You could actually watch the whole thing if you wanted to. And you could just watch it, listen to it. Hopefully after you listen to what I have to say. So we're talking about her mom. I want to play this clip that I haven't watched. I did listen to some of the testifying that she did, and it's a lot about the tools, and it's the defense obviously talking. So we'll watch that after we talk about her speaking, and we watch it. I do want to watch that with you. I'm not really sure what my reaction is yet because I haven't watched it. So I am looking for the clip now. I saw it earlier and I thought, oh, let's go over that. I was going to go over just the testimony and watch a little bit more of the day, but I figure you can go ahead and watch it, watch it after. It's a long day. So we're going to watch this along with CourtTV. And you can watch that, and then we'll go and watch her testify. It's not too long. We're on day 5 still, and today's day 6. So we're going to go here, and I'm going to show you that video. Adam Montgomery's mother-in-law. Not only does she speak, but she testifies. And then after she testifies, she speaks. But I'm going to go ahead and go backwards. And actually, you know what? Let's watch her testify first. I was going to go backwards, but I just realized that she speaks after she testifies. So we're going to watch her testifying, which isn't very long. And then we're going to watch her speak about what she testified, because I don't want to make you go over it twice. So let's watch day 5, Christina Lubin. She testifies. And then we'll see what she has to say after that. And then after that, you can go down and watch the entire day. If you want to catch up, you can catch up there. So day 5, we're a little behind, but it's better that way. And then I can fast forward it. Plus I work, so I can't sit there and watch it all day. So, but if I could, I definitely would. Let's watch. Oh, that's low.
You said this is white. 63. So, I believe you said you did not own this.
No, I do not have a grinder.
Okay, we're going to rewind it a little because obviously we missed some of it.
Never.
It doesn't have a grinder. We heard that, but we'll go back.
So if somebody saw one new in a box.
Okay, let's go back a little bit. Oh, we missed the whole thing. I don't know what number I had on, but I'll change it for you later.
So help you God. Thank you. Please feel free to have a seat. Ms. Lubin, as we're being recorded here today, would you please go ahead, state your full name, and then spell both your first and your last name for the record?
Christina Lubin, Christina Lubin.
Okay. And Ms. Lubin, what town do you live in?
Manchester.
How long have you lived here?
24 years.
And are you working right now?
I'm self-employed.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you do being self-employed?
Deliveries, flipping furniture, and a hired in server.
And in addition to living here in Manchester, is your residence currently on Dubuque Street?
Yes.
Let me ask you, do you have a daughter?
Yes.
And what's her name?
Kayla Montgomery.
Do you know someone by the name of Adam Montgomery?
Yes.
Who was he?
My daughter's husband.
You also know someone by the name of Harmony.
Yes.
Hey, Sadie's mama. Good to see you.
Adam's daughter.
Go ahead and show you State's Exhibit 101. You recognize this man?
Yes, I do.
Who is this?
Adam Montgomery.
When did you first meet Harmony?
It was shortly after Thanksgiving in 2019.
So you only got to know her for a small time.
One time, yes.
One time. Where did you see her?
At my house.
And I believe you said it was right around Thanksgiving. Is that appropriate?
It was shortly after Thanksgiving, yes.
To your knowledge, was that before or after they got evicted from 77 Guilford Street?
I believe that's after they got evicted.
So beginning in the winter, December of 2019, at some point, did you receive a phone call from your daughter?
I spoke to her a couple times. I'm not sure exactly which particular one you're.
Let me be more specific. At some point, did you ever see her and Adam and the two boys at your house, but not with Harmony?
Yes.
And when did that occur in December of 2019?
That was, it was before December. It was shortly after Thanksgiving because I had just put my tree up. And I don't remember the exact date. I just remember shutting off the overhead lights so that the kids could see the Christmas lights and the ornaments.
And that's when you saw Harmony
That's
time?
when I saw Harmony.
Later in the month, did they come back to stay with you? I'm sorry, for a longer period of time than just one afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. And when they came the second time, was Harmony still there?
No, she wasn't.
When did you find out that they had been evicted from 77 Guilford Street?
Kayla had called me at one point before seeing them at my house about having a flat tire and needing money for it. So I was leaving for the day. So I left them money in a cooler in my side hallway so that they could get their tire fixed.
You left the money in a cooler?
Yes.
Could you describe what did the cooler look like?
It was a red cooler with a white top that would flip open.
Later on, when you saw them next in December, I believe you testified a moment ago that they did not have Harmony at that point. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Where did you first see them and how did they get to your house that day?
I picked them up at my sister's house. They went there because they had no place to go. I guess their car broke down at that point. And they had nowhere to go.
Okay.
My sister said they
Well,
definitely.
hold on just a second. I don't want to necessarily ask you what somebody else said at this point, but I appreciate that. Let me ask a few more questions about what you just told us, though. You stated that you picked them up. What kind of car were you driving?
I had a green minivan, a Ford minivan.
So were you able to fit your daughter, Adam Montgomery, and the boys in that minivan?
Yes.
Did they have anything else with them? Did they have any luggage with them?
They had some bags with them. I don't remember exactly what.
This second time when they were there without Harmony, did you ask Adam Montgomery where Harmony was?
I asked Kayla.
You asked Kayla. Once they were there with you, how long did they stay before they moved on?
They were there a couple of weeks. I think it was like December 29th, 30th, right around then.
Do you know where they moved to when they left you?
They went to FIT in Manchester.
And FIT, is that short for the Families in Transition Shelter?
Yes.
when they were spending time with you, if you could just go a little bit into detail for us to explain your particular apartment in your building. How, if I were to come visit, how would I be able to get inside your apartment? What are the doors and where are they?
There are 3 doors to my apartment. I'm the full bottom floor. The very front door facing on Dubuque Street is where the mailboxes are, and that door is always locked. There's a middle door to the left-hand side next to a tree, and that's the side door that I have a door to my apartment there.
Mhm.
And the people that live on the second and third floor use that door to go up and down the stairs. Then there's a back door where I park my car, and that's the door that I use as my main entrance.
When you said before that you had left money for the family and you had left it in a cooler, where was that cooler located in relation to these 3 doors you just explained?
The middle door that's next to the tree.
That's next to the tree?
Yeah.
So that's a middle door, and you mean the tree outside, not a
Right,
Christmas tree, I
right.
take it. Okay.
Yes.
That particular hallway, the door in and out of that hallway, is that, first of all, is that a hallway that's just yours, or is that a common hallway that other people can use to go up and down
That's a
stairs?
common hallway.
Common hallway. And the cooler, was that stored inside a locked part of your apartment, or was that out in the common hallway?
That was out in the common hallway.
When they stayed with you for those couple of weeks in December, what doorway did they come into your apartment? Did they go in from the back one that you described for yourself, or from that common hallway?
They went through the common hallway.
And did they have a car with them while you were there? Did you see that they owned a car at that point?
In December, no, I didn't see a car. They didn't have a car.
You stated that your apartment's on the ground floor. Is that a first floor, or is this like a basement apartment?
No, it's the first floor.
First floor. Got it. And that hallway, what else is in that common hallway besides your cooler that you stored there?
There's a door that goes to the basement that's paddle locked. There's there's an entrance to my apartment that goes to my dining room. And then there's the stairs to the second and third floor.
The door down to the basement, I believe, is that locked? Not
Yes.
locked. That's the locked one. How long had you owned that red cooler in the hallway?
Couple of years I used it for basketball.
That cooler's small to
basketball
have
team.
Harmony's
Did you always
body.
store it in the hallway?
No, sometimes it was in the apartment. Sometimes it was in the hall. Most of the time it was in the hall when basketball was all done.
It's crazy.
You said a moment ago that you left money in the past there for Kayla and for the defendant. Was the cooler in the hallway when you did that?
Yes.
And how would you leave that money so that somebody else wouldn't take it?
So it was next to my apartment door at the end of the hallway. And I would put money under a piece of cardboard and then close the cover.
So the cardboard was inside the cooler?
Yes.
People aren't going to just walk up and take it. What are you thinking? Just kidding. I use a cooler too. Nobody's watching. I use a red cooler. Now I feel bad. Now I'm going to think of Harmony. All right. Are we going to see something? Hopefully it's not too graphic. So trigger warning if there are pictures. I don't know what they're going to show. I didn't see this part. If anyone saw this part, then you know. But you're probably not rewatching it. So this is my first time watching this part.
Let's go ahead and show you. It's been marked States Exhibit 28 for identification purposes only at this point in time. Do you recognize the object in that photo?
Yes.
And what is that object?
That's the red cooler from my apartment.
I'd like to also show you States Exhibit 29. Actually, and you said that's the cooler in your apartment. Is that generally in the same condition as you would keep it? Hasn't been scratched up or marked or anything else at that point?
Yes, it looks a little bit dirty.
A little dirty?
Yeah.
I'm not going to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 29 for identification purposes only. Is that still the same cooler?
It looks like the same cooler.
And can I ask, are there any other differences that you see with regards to that cooler from how we just looked at it a moment ago versus how you're looking at it there?
It looks really dirty.
Okay. And do you see any stickers that have been placed on there?
Yes, I do.
But still the same cooler?
It looks like the same cooler.
Ron, at this point, the state's going to ask for identification to be stricken from State's Exhibit 28.
No objection. The ID is stricken on Exhibit 28. It's entered as a full exhibit.
So that cooler that we just looked at, that was your cooler that was in the home.
It looks like my cooler, yes.
And that was there back in December of 2019.
Yes.
Ms. Lubin, I have an item in here that's marked State's Exhibit 77 for identification purposes. What I would like to do is I would like to open up the top of the packaging so that you can see it and then ask whether or not you can identify the object. Okay. Let me borrow the scissors again.
All right, so he's opening some of the evidence. Their mics are terrible. Wow. Is this it? Oh, they're gonna have her step down and look at it. Okay. This is good to watch it with you guys. I can actually see what's going on with you, and I haven't watched it yet, so great.
Yes.
Is this the same cooler?
It looks like the same.
Looks like the same cooler to you.
Yes.
Same cooler. I wanted to see it. I want to see the size. Is that it's small?
Does this look like the same cooler as the one that you identified before with regards to the one that you would leave money in?
Yes.
Did you ever keep anything else in this cooler?
I used it for basketball tournaments for food.
For food, for
Mhm.
basketball?
Sorry, this sound is
Did police
terrible.
see you at your home to ask you questions about how these-
it's all the way up.
Yes.
And later on, did you agree and allow them to do a search of your home relative to that investigation?
Yes. I don't remember them actually searching the home. But they were free to come in and do whatever they like.
And let me ask you, did they take that cooler from you when you met with them on one occasion?
Yes.
Did they explain to you why that they took the cooler or no?
Not really in any detail. They just needed it.
Do you know why they took the cooler?
I had a suspicion.
What was your suspicion?
I know they were looking for.
Speculation.
I'll withdraw the question, Your Honor.
Objection is sustained.
Ms. Lubin, one thing I do want to make clear, other than the money and the food that you had before for basketball games and other than the money that you left for Kayla, do you have any idea what else was kept inside this
No.
cooler?
No.
Did Adam Montgomery ever talk to you about this cooler?
Never.
It's my understanding that you do some woodworking.
Yes.
What do you do?
I upcycle and recycle pretty much any furniture I can get my hands on.
What kind of tools do you use to do that?
I have a table saw. I have a circular saw. I have a band saw. I have a sill saw.
Sill saw. What kind of saw is that?
It's a saw that I use to cut pallet, not go through the nails on pallet wood. It's like it's a handle and it's got long blades that you can put in it.
Here we go with the saws.
Well, the blade itself's like this big, and then you have the end piece that attaches inside the machine.
And how does that saw operate? You said it's about yay big. Is it round or is it?
No, it's like just a long blade about this thick, and it kind of vibrates back and forth as it.
You when you hold your hands up to be what, maybe about an inch thick? Is that about right?
Yeah, maybe almost an inch.
Almost an inch. Sorry, I apologize. And could you describe just again, you've got, I believe you said you've got a jigsaw. Do you have
This is
a
all the way up.
miter saw,
Now he's talking
box saw?
about a jigsaw.
I do have a miter saw, yes.
I'm going to go ahead and show you what's marked State Exhibit 63.
State Exhibit 63, if you can't
No,
hear.
no, I don't own a grinder.
And how long have you been doing woodworking?
About 6 years.
6 years or so?
Mm-hmm.
Fair to say you've got a lot of different tools for those jobs.
Mhm.
Woodworking.
Yes.
And a grinder is not one.
No.
Let me just have a moment. Just a point of clarification, Your Honor. I
We
apologize.
can't hear this, guys.
77 and Exhibit 73. So I apologize.
We can.
for that.
They're just talking about exhibit
And
numbers.
I don't have any further questions for you. Thank
No
you very
further
much for your
questions.
time. I believe defense counsel may have.
That was it.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Caroline Smith, and I do have a few questions
Now
for you,
it's-
and let's start with the tools,
Now it's
okay?
the defense.
Where do you keep your tools?
I have some by the back door on a rack, and then I have some put away in a little storage unit that I made that's on wheels off the side of the dining room area.
Okay, so that's in your apartment, some are in the apartment, some are out?
No, they're both in the apartment, just different locations in the apartment. I've had
Okay.
to move them around.
Okay. And the basement, is that something anybody has access to?
No, well, the tenants have access to it because we each have a key
Okay,
because it's padlocked, but it's not anything that we use to store anything or.
okay. And I said I'd get to the tools, so I'll get to the tools first. I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit H. Okay. Do you recognize what kind of tool this is?
That's the miter saw.
And that's one of the tools that you have, right?
Yes.
And did you say that you had a circular saw?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you a copy of I. Can you tell me what kind of tool is in this image?
That is a circular saw.
Okay.
They're not going to show us. It's a bad picture from what I could see. Anyway, it's really small. I don't know why. Actually, they probably did that for the impact. If they pulled out this big giant saw for the jury, I think it might be a little bit more intimidating, don't you? And they did talk about the cooler. They talked about the cooler. They brought it out, but they didn't really show it, which is interesting. You could barely see it. So
I want to get a little bit of an understanding of your place and where Kayla, Adam, and the kids stayed. Were they in your apartment?
Yes,
Did you have an extra spare room for them?
not for them. That was packed full with furniture flipping and tools.
Okay. So it was a room that you had available that you let them use for a while, but it wasn't a room that you had intended for them.
They didn't really use the room. They just put their items in there, their clothes in there, and they slept on the pull-out couch in the living room.
Okay. All right. So all the kids and the family is all together.
Mhm.
Okay. So just to get a better idea, and the jury too, of your house, you're on the first floor,
Yes,
and if you're on Dubuque Street, if you look at the right side of the building, but facing Dubuque Street is a door.
yes,
And then you've got a arched window beside that door.
yes,
And then on the other side, there's a sidewalk that goes along the side.
yes,
And I think that you said that there was a door in the middle of the building along that sidewalk.
yes,
And then in the back of the building, there's another door.
yes.
And you use the front door?
No,
You use the side door along the sidewalk?
no,
You use the back door?
yes,
Okay. And that you park there?
yes,
Okay. So you drive around back of the building, you park, and you can come in the back way.
yes.
Do you have the whole downstairs?
The whole floor, yes,
Okay. So any door that you go in, you can access your place.
yes.
You don't necessarily, but you
Right.
can. So the middle door, where did you say that Adam and Kayla and the kids would go in?
The middle door.
The middle door along the sidewalk.
Hmm.
Okay. And the front door would be for tenants going upstairs or something?
They would use the middle door.
Okay. Front door was for show?
The front door, you go out and get your mail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I want to talk about when you met Harmony. And you recall that visit, right?
Yes.
And you even recalled what she was wearing, right?
No, I don't recall what she was wearing.
Okay, I'm going to show you a copy of a report that I believe that you were given to review
Okay.
prior to your testimony. And do you remember meeting with the state about your prior testimony?
Yes,
And you reviewed the report that they asked you to review?
I remember reviewing it. Yes,
Okay, and you said that it was accurate?
yes,
Okay. If I show you a copy of that report, will that help refresh your recollection of if at some point you remembered what she was wearing?
yes,
It's been a chaotic couple of years, huh?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Look at that look she's giving her. I don't know if she wants to see it or doesn't. I'm trying not to talk too loud because the volume
Page 165 that they gave
is
you,
up to 100
and
and we can barely
you can
hear.
read any of this report about you, but I'm going to ask specifically about what
Okay.
you told them there.
She's reviewing it right now, so there's no talking. Although whenever she does talk, you can hear the you can hear Christina on the stand.
I just read that part.
Okay. And do you recall that you remembered then that she was wearing a pink jacket?
So I don't really remember what she was wearing, like visually. I remember this. I remember everything else in there, but I don't really remember a fuzzy coat. It
Okay.
doesn't say anything about pink.
And pigtails?
Yes, I remember the pigtails
Okay. And glasses?
and glasses.
And you remember that because you were paying attention to her, right?
She was next to me in the living room.
Okay. So you were able to see her face,
Yes,
and she was adorable.
yes.
And you enjoyed meeting her and trying to get to know her.
She didn't talk much, and they were there very briefly.
Okay. And I believe that you said she looked healthy.
Yes, she did.
Okay. And she was pleasant, didn't talk much, but seemed fine.
She seemed fine. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. No, I'm sorry, no further
Poor
questions.
little thing. She didn't talk much. Her mom said something way different. Crystal Sorry said something way different. She was vibrant and bubbly and sweet. And she lit up the room, right? And now she didn't talk very much.
Saw us by Attorney Smith a moment ago, and you looked at this. You said this is a grinder, Exhibit 63.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe you said you did not own this.
No, I do not have a grinder.
So, haven't owned one in the past either.
Never.
So, if somebody saw one new in a box, it wasn't yours.
No. No.
Thank you. Further questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you. Okay, sit down.
All right, it looks like we're done. It wasn't very much, and we couldn't hear it very well. That was that wasn't the best. Yeah. Where'd it go now? We want to stop this, and then we'll share it in a second. So gonna talk about her testifying real quickly. Yeah, it didn't seem like she was. I mean, they didn't go over a lot. They didn't ask about the actual. They didn't ask too many questions, anything really technical. They didn't ask about Sadie's mama. You said earlier that the one question they didn't ask. I'm gonna go back to that. They didn't ask her if anyone saw was missing to prove that he stole it. They didn't talk about the actual saws. Was it missing? Did she notice that anything was missing at the time? Did she even notice her cooler was missing? I didn't catch that. If she said that, she didn't seem super helpful. And yeah, Court TV tried to talk to her and was silent. Interesting. So we're gonna play that next. We're gonna play that and see what she says. I guess she didn't talk much, but we're gonna see what they say about this. We're gonna say how they feel, and then see if when they try to catch her, because I didn't get to see that. So let's share that now, and we'll talk about it. Let me get this off of the screen real quick because she's not there anymore. And hide that and that. Nobody's there, but we will put this up and then see what happens. Yeah, nothing of that seemed too helpful for the defense or the state, really. I don't know at this point what anyone's thinking, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people that have been testifying. It's been long days at this point. So, all right, let's get into this. I'm going to share them trying to catch her after and see if what she said or if she said anything. Let's watch it.
covering this trial in court. Tell us the latest in this trial specifically. I know that testimony from the mom of Adam's wife, Kayla Montgomery. What stood out to you?
Big testimony today. Nice to see you both. So we had Christina Lubin that was on the stand. She is the mother of Kayla Montgomery, Kayla being the estranged wife of this defendant, Adam Montgomery, who was on the stand for 2 days. And her testimony was critical for the state's case because she identified the red cooler that was in her house that Adam allegedly hid Harmony's body in. When she was questioned about that on the stand, here's what she said.
At some point, did police come to see you at your home to ask you questions about Harmony's disappearance?
Yes.
Later on, did you agree and allow them to do a search of your home relative to that investigation?
Yes, I don't remember them actually searching the home, but they were free to come in and do whatever they like.
Do you know why they took the cooler?
I had a suspicion.
Christina Lubin was also asked about all of the power tools in her house, which allegedly were used by Adam Montgomery in the disposal of his daughter's body. Now, she didn't answer any questions about the relationship of her daughter the last time that she saw her or how she prepared for her testimony. So I tried asking those questions when she left the stand. Take a listen. How are you holding up during all of this?
I have no comment.
What do you think about the case so far and the accusations that your daughter had played a bigger role? Talk to me about testifying today. Was it tough to be up there? When's the last time you saw Harmony?
Excuse me.
She doesn't want to incriminate her daughter.
When's the last time you spoken to your daughter? All right, her daughter up for parole in just a couple months, not answering our questions and also not facing his jury for a 5th day in a row of his trial. Adam Montgomery, an empty chair in court today. This jury not seeing his reaction to Kayla's mom on the stand or Kayla.
All right, Matt, we heard fiery testimony today from Montgomery's drug dealer, or he dealt drugs to them a number of times, Anthony Bodero. Can you tell us about his testimony?
His testimony very interesting because remember, the Montgomerys went and stayed in his parking lot of his apartment building. But again, he couldn't remember that. He was questioned about his Audi that the family lived in after their Sebring had been towed away after it broke down. Here's what he said on the stand.
And you said that you never saw Harmony
I never did.
and that you didn't go down there.
Let's go. When did I not see Harmony? You're just saying I didn't see Harmony, but where? When?
At the Colonial Village.
No,
You're saying you never waved to Harmony,
never.
never waved to the boys.
Overruled.
Telling you she wasn't in the car. How can I wait for someone that's not in the car? I want to help you guys.
Who?
The prosecution helped find who killed that little girl.
The defense.
And that was that fiery moment that this jury is, of course, thinking of today. So he was also questioned about his memory, getting some dates, maybe confused. And then the defense team also really drove home the point that he's a convicted felon. They showed other times to the jury affidavits when he was convicted of other crimes. They talked about his criminal record and immunity for testifying. Michael, Judge Ashley?
All right. We also know, Matt, that most of today's testimony was focused on the search of Adam Montgomery's vehicle. Tell a little bit about what they found.
Yeah, that 2010 Chrysler Sebring that broke down at Webster and also Elm, and really is a critical key piece of evidence for this particular crime that we're talking about, because remember, Harmony was beaten in the back of that car, according to the state, and then her body stuffed in that duffel bag in the trunk of the car. Well, several police officers testified today as they searched that car for trace evidence of blood. Here's part of that critical testimony.
It took a while to process this car, right?
Yes, it did.
And you applied the blue star in the manner specified to you in the instruction manual?
Yes,
And there was no positive reaction.
that's correct.
No positive reaction on the steering column,
Correct.
steering wheel,
Correct.
driver's seat,
Correct.
the entirety of the passenger seat,
Correct.
or the center console.
That's correct.
And that's what you documented in your report.
Yes.
Possible trace evidence in the trunk, but not in the cab of the car. That was his testimony. Then there was the moment when the detective held up the toothbrush believed to be Harmony Montgomery's toothbrush. That's going to be key for this case because that's how they get the DNA profile to test it against other pieces of evidence that we're going to hear about in this very disturbing case involving this missing little girl.
Yeah, very disturbing. A lot of little details provided by each individual witness. Thank you, of course, Matt Johnson. So appreciate your great reporting. Still joining us for this hour, criminal defense attorney Joe Tamburino. And Joe, I want to start with just an observation because so many times we see defendants being interviewed again and again and again and again and going on the media and talking. Here's a witness, though, the mother of Kayla Montgomery, Christina Lubin. She testified, but then you saw.
I don't know if it's my YouTube or just YouTube. It's a little bit slow, but so this wasn't as long as I expected, and I really wanted to go over Adam Montgomery's drug dealer. And since I'm talking to Sadie's mama and she wants to watch it and I want to watch it, I only caught pieces of it. We're going to go over it after this. But this is really good. This Court TV clip is good because it kind of recaps it, goes over her mom not wanting to talk. And like I said earlier, I really think she doesn't want to incriminate her daughter. I wish I knew more about, and this is what I was hoping to hear. I was hoping to hear how she felt about Adam Montgomery. Adam Montgomery, if you believe Kayla, is who got her into this mess, why she's in jail. I mean, not only that, would you want your daughter being married to somebody like that? Absolutely not. Living in a car with 3 kids and doing drugs. Yeah, I wish we would have heard more from her. And I was hoping so, but maybe we'll hear later after Kayla's not, worried about being incriminated. If that ever happens, they make him come back and try to convict her after. Who knows? Probably not, though. Okay, let's finish playing it, and then we'll play the clip of the drug dealer, which I don't know his name right now, on the stand.
She did not want to say anything to Matt, and that's a little unusual. I find that often witnesses and even defendants want to talk.
They do want to talk. I mean, many times they'll come out of court and start talking to the media, and we see that across the country. I think it's very common with witnesses. On the other hand, this particular witness, her daughter is in a lot of trouble, or was in a lot of trouble. She's, serving time for a perjury charge, obviously in a very precarious position. So perhaps she doesn't want to talk because it directly affects her daughter.
Joe, we just heard that there was really nothing found in the car forensic-wise. No blood found in the car. Not that big of a deal, really, in this case. Your thoughts? Because at the end of the day, this wasn't a murder that involved a bloody crime scene, at least according to what Kayla has told this jury.
That's correct. And, when we talked about this before, it's a circumstantial evidence case. But under the law, circumstantial evidence can be used by a jury just as they use direct evidence. They could give it equal weight. And what the state is doing is methodically trying to put the pieces together. Yes, there's no actual direct evidence that he, in fact, killed this poor girl in the car or in some specific location. But boy, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that would point toward his guilt. I think it's a very difficult case for the defense.
And let me get you to weigh in, Joe. Michael and I have talked about this. We've had other guests who have joined in the conversation. What is your take on the fact that the defendant, we know, is asked every morning, does he want to come to court? No. If he says no, then no transport has to be sent to pick him up. He has not been in court since the very first day of jury selections. So part of the jury's never even seen him.
It's horrible for the defense. I mean, think of it this way. A jury is always thinking my God, you have someone who's charged with a horrific crime. And if they are innocent, or if they're trying to show that they're innocent, wouldn't they have a stake in this trial? Wouldn't they be interested enough to be in the courtroom so they could see the evidence? Maybe they could testify if they wished. But if you're not interested in your own case, if you're disinterested to such a degree that you're simply going to let this trial go on without viewing anything, I think it's a terrible sign for the defense.
Yeah, especially at least show up for the person who's, you say, or at least the defense is saying did it, when they're going to testify and say you did it, be there to confront that person at least face to face in the courtroom. But here's what I want to ask you, and I want to piggyback on the judge's question. His claim is that he's required to be strip searched every time he comes to court. Now, he's in prison for some other charges. He's not in a county jail at the moment. He's in prison. Does that sound right to you? I mean, it sort of raises red flags to me that in order for someone to exercise their right, again, they're innocent till they're proven guilty of these charges, they have to go through a strip search?
Well, it depends. I mean, it all depends on the locality. There are many situations where, you know, in some local jails, in some prisons, where they do have special rules about what type of security or searching you have to go through when you come in and out of a courtroom. Because let's face it, even though it's a courtroom, and even though everyone is supposed to obey the laws about contraband, sometimes things can be passed or slipped to someone who's going into custody. So I don't think it's a violation of his Sixth Amendment right. And I think it's a fairly weak excuse not to show up for court.
Yeah, I'm shocked he's not there. I bet his attorneys have tried to say, yeah, you need to be in court.
Strip searches are very invasive.
You know what's interesting about this conversation is that even though we're talking about it, and obviously the jury's thinking about it, and I mean, they're having a whole conversation. I think the whole world is having a conversation about why this man is not at his own trial. But at the very beginning of the trial, the judge said, oh, he's not here, but don't let that determine your guilty or innocent or anything about Adam Montgomery and sway you on the verdict of the trial. So it's interesting that, you know, I mean, yeah, you're going to lose rights as a prisoner, Sadie's mama. I agree. However, he's already in jail for his weapon charges. And I think that's a pretty sad excuse, even if it is to be strip search, because it's his little girl that died. And if Kayla really did do that, let's say she was responsible, wouldn't you want to make sure that she gets prosecuted for that? Wouldn't you want to be there and show the jury what you're trying to do? So, you know, losing rights, I agree. I mean, I've never been arrested before, so I can't sit there and, like, some of the other content creators can talk about it and say their experience and what happens. I don't know, but I do know that it's part of it. It's part of the system, and it's not fair, but it's part of it. So we'll finish watching this, but what they're talking about isn't supposed to affect the jury. Do you think that it is? I do, 100%. It's so weird that it's not supposed to, but yeah, it's on everybody's mind.
I don't know. It just bothers me, Joe. I just got to say, if that was an issue with my client, I'd have a problem with it.
And that's what I would think too. If there was really that issue, you would think the attorneys would be fighting that, et cetera, et cetera. So
and again, we're not 100% certain that that's the case. This is what he's saying. We did some checking. Matt did some checking. Apparently that first day it was the case. We're not sure if it's been the case
every other day.
Since.
Right, right. Absolutely.
A stepmother.
Unmuted now. Okay. So what you said you do, what do you think? What's your opinion on this? Do you think that it's affecting the jury? It's the elephant in the room right now. Honestly, every day of trial, they've brought that up. And now, I mean, social media is having, you know, conversations about it. It's got to be, hold on. No, it's unmuted now, right? I think it was just muted for a minute. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me, because right now it looks like it's working. So you think it will affect the jury? And I agree. And I wonder in which way. I wonder if they really buy his excuse that he doesn't want to get strip searched, and if they feel bad. And do they believe Kayla? Do they think that she really did it? So, I'm wondering all of this stuff. And there's so many people. It's such a big trial. And I mean, we're going to watch the drug dealer next take the stand. But I wanted to go over part of the case because this is a big case. And there's every time I pick up my phone and put this trial on, I realize how much bigger it is and how many more people. And, it's hard to watch all of it or cover all of it because it's just like 8 hours a day. And I know if I cut that out, it'll be less, but I kind of want to just give a little bit of recaps of what happened. And then I put a link in so anybody can go and listen to the whole thing while they go to sleep or whatever, or while they're working. Right. So let's have the testimony resume and watch what the drug dealer says. We watched the snippet, but we'll watch we'll try to watch the full thing. Let's see what happens. I can forward through some of it. No. Let's see. There it is.
And Mr. Bodero, you can just remain standing and raise your right hand.
Sure.
Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide this jury will be the truth and the whole truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Sure, yes, sir.
Have a seat and make yourself comfortable. There's some water and
Thank you.
How are you doing today, Mr. Bodero?
All right.
Can you start by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
My name is Anthony Bodero, ANTHONY BODERO.
And sorry, we're just getting set up, Mr. Bodero. I apologize.
It's okay. Take your time.
You're actually approaching, just try to plug that back in.
Yeah, hopefully the sound is better on this one.
Sure.
They're setting it up here and I'm talking, so we'll watch it for a second and then I'll fast forward if it takes too long. It's kind of a long, I think it's a longer testimony, definitely longer than Crystal Lubin, Kayla's mom and Adam's mother-in-law. She really didn't want to be on the stand. And now, I mean, I do really know why. I was kind of just thinking about it, but really, if someone talked to her, she doesn't want to incriminate her daughter any further. So I think anything she says can still be used against her. All right, let's see if these guys are ready.
Mr. Bodero, what's your date of birth?
August 30th of 1973.
And how far did you go in school?
High school. 11th grade.
11th grade. What's the current city that you reside in?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
And how long have you lived here in Manchester?
13, 14 years.
Mr. Bodero, are you familiar with an area in Manchester called the Colonial Village Apartments?
Yes, sir.
And how are you familiar with that area?
I used to reside at the residence here.
And again, Mr. Bodero, we're making a record, so I'm just going to ask, there's a little microphone in front of you. I'm just going to ask that you speak into that and as loud as you can.
I used to reside at Colonial Village.
How long did you live in Colonial Village for?
Lived there for like 4 months at one time, and then like another 4 or 5 months after that.
And what were the periods that you lived there? What years?
I lived there from July of 2019 to, I would say, I think it was March of the following year. Yes, March of 2020.
Okay. And who did you live there with in that period that you just mentioned, the July 2019 to March 2020?
I live with a friend of mine.
And what's your friend's name?
Her name is Tanya Clement.
And what were the circumstances? What was the arrangement that you had with Tanya, that living situation?
We would share the bills for the rent of the apartment.
While you were living there during that period that we're discussing, so not the later time, but the July to March, did you own a vehicle?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell these jurors what kind of vehicle you owned?
I believe it was a 2004 Audi S4 in blue.
Would you recognize that vehicle if you saw it today?
Of course.
Yes, you may.
So, Mr. Bodero, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 22.
Exactly.
Do you recognize that?
That's definitely my old car, yes.
And so you recognize it as your old car?
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to ask you the big courtroom
Just
that
speak
everybody wants
louder.
to hear, so
Okay.
please keep your voice up.
Yes, that was my vehicle.
Okay. Is this a fair and accurate representation of your vehicle? Is
Yes.
this what your vehicle looked like, in other words?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 22.
The objection?
May we approach?
Yes?
All right. So the sound isn't that great again, but I've got it all the way up, and that I'm trying to talk lower so that when I get on, I don't blast in your ear with excitement. So sometimes I get a little louder, but I'll try to kind of keep it down. This sound, I was trying to listen to this the last couple of days of trial while I was working, and it really was hard. I was super distracted. Normally, a lot of the trials will flow a lot nicer, or when I hear a recap, it flows really nice. But they were all over the place.
Mr. Bodero,
There we go.
you said you recognize this vehicle, that this is a fair and accurate
Yes, sir.
photograph of your vehicle.
Yes.
Is this what your vehicle looked like the last time you saw it?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 22.
No objection. All right, the ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
So, Mr. Bodero, that exhibit that I just handed you, the photo of your car, I put it up on the screen behind you. Can you take a look at that for a moment? And can you tell these jurors what that image is of?
What the images of?
Yes.
My vehicle.
And I think you said the last time you saw it, that's what the vehicle looked like?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
happened to your vehicle after you left the Colonial Village apartments?
It was sitting for about 2 years at my in-laws.
Why was it sitting at your in-laws for 2
And
years?
I could not get it started.
Mr. Bodero, at some point between when you left that vehicle for 2 years at your in-laws and today, did you consent to a search of that vehicle?
Yes.
And was that with the Manchester Police Department?
Yes.
Mr. Bodero, I want to switch gears. Do you know someone named Adam Montgomery?
Yes.
And you can reposition yourself. That's fine. How do you know Mr. Montgomery?
I happened to meet him August of 2019.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Bodero, I'm showing you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize the individual that's depicted in this photo?
Yes, sir.
And who do you recognize that to be?
As Adam Montgomery.
Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Bodero, is this the same Adam Montgomery that you
That's fine.
that you met in August of 2019?
Yes, sir.
How often would you interact with Mr. Montgomery back in 2019?
I saw him maybe every few days or something like that.
How about Kayla Montgomery? Do you know someone named Kayla Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
And how do you know her?
I happened to meet her in 2013.
2013?
Yes.
How did you meet the defendant in August of 2019?
I needed a ride to the Rockingham courthouse to dispute a driving without a license ticket, and I needed a ride, so I happened to call a friend of mine, and he didn't have his car, so he said that he was with a friend of his and that he would ask him if he can give me a ride. He called me back, told me that the guy said okay. Then him and Adam Montgomery came to pick me up to take me to court. And when they arrived with 3 children, with Harmony and the 2 boys.
And you mentioned Harmony and 2 boys. Did you see those 3 children after that event?
Yes.
Let's talk about when did you last see Harmony?
The last time I saw Harmony was the second and last time I ever saw her, and that was about 3 weeks to a month later after the August incident. I saw her with them where they resided at.
Mr. Bodero, I want to switch gears with you again. Have you ever been convicted of a felony drug charge?
Yes, sir.
Were you in fact convicted of felony drug possession in 2014?
14. I think so, yes.
How about in 2016?
Yes.
How about in 2019?
No.
And Mr. Bodero, did you provide testimony to the grand jury related to this case back in March of 2022? So March 21st of 2022.
I believe, yes, sir.
And do you remember being asked in that grand jury proceeding whether or not you sold drugs to the defendant back in 2019?
Yes, sir.
Did you provide an honest answer to that question?
No, I did not.
During that grand jury testimony, were you given any type of immunity before you were asked the questions about drugs? And after your testimony, after your grand jury testimony, did you agree to meet with investigators regarding the case?
Yes, sir.
And was that in September of 2022?
Sounds about right.
At that point, had you been provided any type of immunity regarding drug activity?
No, I don't think so.
Do you recall agreeing to meet with those investigators, signing a written document?
I did agree to meet with them, yes, with an attorney.
Did you have an understanding about how your statements could be used, whether they could be used against you?
Yes.
What was your understanding of that?
That they would not use it against me as long as I told the truth.
And you mentioned having an attorney.
Yes.
Is that attorney here with you today?
Yes, sir.
And regarding your testimony here today, have you been provided immunity based on that drug information?
Yes, sir.
before testifying today, you were provided immunity.
Yes, sir.
Based on that, Mr. Bodero, I want to ask you questions about your sale of drugs back in 2019. Specifically, back in 2019, did you sell drugs to the defendant, Adam Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
Did you sell drugs to Kayla Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
How often would you sell the defendant and Kayla drugs?
Whenever I had any available.
How frequently was that?
Not frequent.
Were you actively selling drugs back then?
When I did have, yes.
And how would they pay you when they would purchase those drugs?
They would either pay me with cash or they would sell me food stamps.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean when you say they would sell you food stamps?
Well, I would give them.
So real quickly before I forget, because we just watched Kayla not too long ago testify, and what'd she say? They would eat baby food. They would eat baby food. They wouldn't have stuff to eat. Poor me, poor me. Yet they're selling their food stamps for drugs. Not like it's not a typical thing that drug addicts do, but yeah, very, I wouldn't even say interesting. I mean, how many other lies, I wonder, did she tell? I wonder what she didn't tell, what she did. I almost feel sorry for her when she gets out, and I wonder, and I don't know if anyone else knows, but like, where are they keeping her now? Is she in protective custody because she's a witness? I feel like a lot of women, mothers in general, would want to hurt her. I don't know. Let's listen to this. I just had that thought about the food stamps and selling them for drugs.
Half of whatever they gave me in food stamps.
Let me back up. What type of drugs were they buying from you back then?
Heroin and crack.
Mr. Bodero, did the defendant, in this case, Adam Montgomery, did he ever sell drugs for you?
Negative, no.
Did you ever employ Mr. Montgomery to sell drugs for you?
No.
Did you ever hire him in any capacity?
No.
Mr. Bodero, I want to turn your attention to Thanksgiving of 2019. Does that time frame stand out to you?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell these jurors why that stands out to you?
Because they approached me saying they had no place to live, and I let them stay in my vehicle.
And can you describe that arrangement where you let them stay in your vehicle?
Well, the reason I had them stay in the vehicle is because I was living with somebody else that it was their apartment, and there was no room for them to be there. So the only choice I had was to let them stay in my vehicle.
And do you recall the specific, let me back up. How many days did they stay in your vehicle?
2 days.
2 days.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall the specific days?
No, it was just after Thanksgiving weekend.
And Mr. Bodero, who stayed in your vehicle?
Adam, Kayla, and the 2 boys.
Earlier, you mentioned Adam's third child, Harmony.
Yes.
Where was Harmony during that time where you let them stay in their vehicle, in your vehicle?
I do not know.
Was she with them?
No.
Did you see her at any point during that period where they were staying in your vehicle?
No, sir.
And do you recall how they came to be living in your vehicle? What was? Can you tell the jurors what that conversation was like?
Well, from what I recall, they gave me a call and told me they had no place to go. They came to where I was staying at. I let them upstairs. We talked, and I told them, I was like, I could let you stay in my car, but I can't let you stay here because this is not my apartment. That was the arrangement.
The car that you allowed them to stay in, was that the same car that I showed you an image of
yes,
just
sir.
moments ago?
So that was the white car. I'm asking that. Sadie's mom, and
Mr.
you know the
Bodero,
answers
back in
to everything.
late 2019, did you have a Facebook account?
Yes.
What was your Facebook name back then, if you can recall?
Anthony Tone Capone Bodero.
Anthony Tone, sorry?
Capone Bodero.
Is that your full name, or?
No, that's just a street name.
Tone specifically, is that what you go by?
Well, they call me Tony.
Were you friends with the defendant on Facebook, the defendant in this case?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Do you recall what his Facebook name was back then?
I believe it was his name, Adam Montgomery.
How often would you communicate back then, late 2019? How often would you communicate with the defendant?
I don't remember, sir.
How would you communicate with him?
Telephone mostly.
Did you communicate with him on Facebook at any point?
I don't recall, but I wouldn't doubt it.
So I want to talk about those 2 days when they were staying in your car. The defendant, Kayla, and their 2 sons. Did you take them anywhere during those 2 days?
No.
Do you think that seeing your Facebook messages might refresh your recollection regarding whether or not you took them somewhere?
I guess.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
All right. Let's see if this is quick, but we'll definitely go ahead and fast forward if it's too long. Oh, there it is.
Great. So, Mr. Bodero, I'm just handing you. Actually, sorry. I can just have this. So, Mr. Bodero, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 107. I'm just going to ask that you look this document over, paying attention to this page.
I'm going to read that
To yourself.
The whole thing, or just this page?
That page to yourself, and then just look up to that.
Well, we'll see how long it takes them to read that while we're waiting. So the blue car is the one that he let them use.
So, Mr. Bodero, first let me ask, does that refresh your recollection regarding whether or not you drove the defendant?
To tell the truth, I don't even remember.
Okay. The item that you just reviewed, what do you understand that to be?
Guess they must have reached out to me. They needed to go to the clinic. They asked for a ride, and I guess I must have told them, give me 20 minutes. I just woke up, and I guess I must have took them to the clinic.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Is that a conversation between yourself and the defendant?
I don't even remember. It could have been with Adam or Kayla.
Okay. Mr. Bodero, as part of your involvement with this case, did you provide consent for officers to search your Facebook account?
Yes.
Mr. Bodero, during that 2-day period where the defendant slept in your car, did you allow him to drive your vehicle at all?
I don't think so. I wouldn't let nobody drive my car.
And seeing those messages, does that refresh your recollection at all regarding whether or not you took them to the methadone clinic?
It does not, sir.
And do you recall specifically having those communications with the defendant?
No, I do not.
Mr. Bodero, when the Montgomerys stayed in your vehicle, how often would you see them?
Not much.
What does not much mean?
Like, I was upstairs in my apartment with my wife, and I hardly went outside.
Mr. Bodero, do you recall sitting down with investigators and talking to them about that period of time?
Yes.
Do you recall telling them specifically that you rarely saw the defendant and Kayla during that period?
I rarely saw them, but I wasn't checking on them.
Were you aware of their living situation prior to them living in your car?
Not sure. Just I know they told me they had no place to go, and that's why I let them stay in the car.
And at that time, were you aware of where they had been living immediately before then?
I don't recall.
Do you recall whether they were staying in their own vehicle prior to using yours?
No, I don't.
Those rare times that you would see them, how would you see them during that period?
They would come see me. After I served them, they would leave.
And when you say they would come see me, is that the defendant and Kayla, or is that someone else?
They either came together or separate.
Do you recall telling those investigators that they were always together?
Yeah, they were always together.
During those 2 evenings or those 2 days that you allowed them to stay in your vehicle, did something happen to your vehicle during that time?
Yes. The first night, I guess, from what they told me, Kayla didn't know how to drive a manual transmission car. She turned it on for the heat, and it killed the battery. And I guess when he woke up, he went somewhere, supposedly from what they said, he went somewhere in the middle of the night to get a portable car charger. So by the time the next day when I came out, they already had the car started. So I don't know. I wasn't around, so I don't know.
Mr. Bodero, do you recall specifically who told you that information about Kayla starting the car?
They were both telling me. They were both together.
Do you recall telling investigators that the defendant actually gave you that information?
No.
They were both together when you learned it?
Well, yeah, they were both together.
And I'm sorry, you said that earlier. They were always together.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you provide them any items during their two days in your vehicle?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors what you gave them?
I gave them leftover Thanksgiving dinner one night, and then the following day, I bought 2 pies from Domino's Pizza, and I gave them a pie, and I still with a pie for me and my wife.
Mr. Bodero, if I can have just a moment.
I went there one time.
I tried to fast forward it, but it went too far, so we'll just wait. Right after this one, I have the bloody Google Valentine special. I love horror. I love true crime.
Brief follow-up, Mr. Bodero.
Valentine's Day is cool.
You mentioned seeing where the defendant resided. Can you tell the jurors where that was?
I always forget the name of this where it's at, but I went there one time to bring them some food.
Okay. Was it a house, an apartment, something else?
Yes, it was a house.
How would you describe that house?
It was a small little house.
And would that have been, what time of year was that?
That was in September 2019.
September 2019?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Bodero, would you recognize that house if you saw it again today?
Yes.
Showing you it's been published, admitted and published as State's Exhibit 1.
That's it.
And when you say, yeah, that's it, what do you recognize that to be?
I reckon that should be the house where they were residing in.
That house at Guilford Street.
Yes, I believe that's the name of the street.
How many times did you go to this house at Guilford Street?
I think maybe, but I don't even remember the one time, but it could have been twice. But I remember only one time. I didn't go visit them, so I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Bodero. No further questions, Your Honor. I pass the witness.
Of 2022, sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you a copy of, you can see on the outside, grand jury proceedings, right?
Yes.
About the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery.
Yes.
And you were sworn in at the beginning of the grand jury, right?
Yes.
And I want you to go through and I'm going to take you from the bottom of page 3 into page 4 and ask you to read that to yourself, okay? And then I'm going to ask you a question.
You said bottom of page 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, please don't read it
Where
out
at the
loud.
bottom?
We'll fast forward a little bit.
From here? From
Sure,
here?
sure. Why don't you do that? Right?
Yes.
Use an answer to answer a question if it might incriminate you, right?
From what it says here, yes, I guess. I just don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. And it says that, yes, you understood, right?
Yes.
So you also said you lied to the grand jury, right?
Yes.
Okay. And being advised that you had the right to refuse to answer a question or you had the right to an attorney, you chose to lie under oath.
I didn't know that I was going to need an attorney.
Okay.
So I agreed to answer their questions.
So when the question came up to something that would incriminate you, you chose to lie rather than ask for an attorney, right?
I got scared and I didn't think about what they told me about asking for an attorney.
Sure, sure. And you were scared because they thought you had information about Harmony, right?
Yes,
And you didn't want anything to do with this, right?
of course.
You didn't want to be implicated in this in any way at all, right?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. You talked about meeting Adam because you needed a ride to court.
Yes.
And you didn't have a license that day, right?
No.
Have you ever had a license?
No.
You did not have a license in November of 2019 then, right?
No.
If you've never had one, you
I've
didn't
never
have
had
one.
one, exactly.
Excuse me. And you didn't have one in December of 2019?
No.
Okay. And you talked about your prior convictions. And one of the prior convictions, I think that you said was possession of a controlled drug from 2018.
Yes.
And that was actually possession with intent to sell, right? Or dispense.
I guess. I don't remember. I don't recall.
Okay. If I showed you a copy of the record of that conviction, would that help refresh your recollection?
Maybe.
Okay.
I hope it does. Let's get on with the questioning.
I'm going to show you what is a certified copy
Andy had a
of
car.
a conviction returned from Superior Court state prison sentence for Anthony Bodero, right?
Yes.
And
Drove
January 12th,
and no car.
2018.
That's when I was released.
That was the day you were sentenced. Well, actually, okay.
I got released as well.
Yeah, because you were actually in jail pre-trial, and the day you got sentenced, you got a suspended sentence, and they released you.
All I know is they let me go.
Okay. And so you got a sentence of 3 to 6 years with all but 92 days suspended. Does that sound right?
No. I believe it was the 92 whatever days time served, and then suspended time after.
Right. Okay. I may have said it wrong because
Why are they talking
gotten
about
a little
this?
bit tired.
Who cares?
So it was 3 to 6 years as a sentence. All of that was suspended except for the 92 days that you had already served.
Yes.
Let's talk
So
about
when you
Adam.
mean you got released,
maybe.
you were held on bail before the conviction, and the day you got sentenced, you were let out.
Well, they picked me up from a state prison. I did a bid in a state prison. They picked me up. I did 92 days here in Valley Street, and then I got released.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then you had a suspended sentence hanging over your head of 3 to 6 minus.
Maybe she thinks she's attacking his credibility, but he does seem really credible. Yeah, he's a drug dealer and probably a user, and he's been in jail. But the statements coming up and the ones before, he definitely seems genuine, not genuine in a way that he doesn't lie about anything. But yeah, he just seems like he's there to help the state really find what happened to Harmony and get Adam convicted. Nobody likes child murderers, not even the worst of the worst.
Minus that 92 days.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And that was suspended for 3 years.
Yes.
Okay. And then in November 22nd, 2019, you got another drug charge.
No.
Drug conviction, sorry.
No. Say that again. When?
November 22nd, 2019, you got convicted on another charge.
No.
Okay.
That's wrong.
Okay, lady. Ask the real questions about Adam. He's the one on trial here. This guy, like, you're not going to discredit him any more than anybody already thinks. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about the defense? I just wonder what the census of this case is and how people think that Adam's attorney's doing. Every time I've seen her cross anybody or just have somebody on the stand, she just doesn't seem to do that well. She doesn't hit home. She never nails it.
Go ahead, Attorney Smith, go ahead.
So I think I was going to show you another certified copy of another conviction, okay? I can show you return from Superior Court, Anthony Bodero, sentence November 22nd, 2019.
Sorry, I don't know anything about that. The last time I did time for drugs I came home in 2018.
Sure, because on this one you got a total 2 to 4 suspended. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay. And your attorney was Attorney Sheehan?
Yeah, that was from the old case. That's not, I have it confused.
Okay.
It can't be 2019 because I never got caught with drugs, anything after 2018.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. On June 24, 2019, you were driving without a valid license, right?
That, yes.
No shit.
And while you were driving without a valid license, they found drugs in your car.
No.
Basis.
Come on, lady, get it right. Yeah, basis. I love that, Judge. Basis. What are you even talking about? What's your basis? You discredit him, whatever. Okay.
Me what's been marked as a full exhibit, a certified copy of your conviction from November 22nd, 2019. And we went over that first page.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go over the second page.
Most of the
And
testimony
that
is
second page is the sentence that you got on that conviction, right?
okay.
I see
Yeah.
what you have there, but that's not what it was for. I got caught driving without a license.
Okay. And you got, according to this document, you got a sentence of 2 to 4 years, suspended for 3 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. He
That
has
means
immunity.
that 2 to 4
cares?
years you don't spend in jail or prison, it hangs over your head for 3 years.
Yes.
With conditions that you stay arrest-free and commit no new crimes and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
And another conviction was that you got a LADAC evaluation and within 60 days provide proof to the state, right?
What's LADAC?
Drug and alcohol evaluation. Do you remember that?
Kind of.
Okay. So now we're going to go to the actual charge that was based on. And that's the indictment. You've seen indictments, right?
Yes.
And the indictment is for activities that you did on or about June 24, 2019. Is that what it says?
Yes.
And the activity that you did was possession of a controlled drug. Is that right?
That's what it says.
And this
For what?
was in County of Rockingham, right?
Yes.
And it was Superior Court, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like this court, Superior.
Of course.
Okay. And then you also had with that a misdemeanor for driving after revocation.
Wow. A
With a
misdemeanor.
sentence on the same day.
You're gonna bring that up right now? Who
That's what it
cares?
says.
Come on,
Okay.
lady.
And your sentence for that was 12 months in the House of Correction, all suspended for 3 years, right?
Okay.
Meaning that you got another year hanging over your head for that 3 years, right?
Yes.
And one of the conditions here was that you not drive until you are properly licensed.
Yes.
So you got arrested for both of those things at the same time, right?
All I recall is getting arrested for driving without a license. No
Okay.
drug charges.
And so that the jury recognizes it when they see it later, if I may just sort of show
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Oh yeah, the jury's gonna recognize that later. Come on, lady. Let's get past this a little bit more.
Early talking about December of 2019 when you told the state you were selling them drugs.
Say to repeat that?
Okay. Were you selling them drugs around the time that they stayed in your Audi?
I don't think no. I don't.
Okay.
Not that weekend. I can't say I sold them drugs that weekend. No, I know I didn't sell them drugs that weekend.
You know you didn't sell drugs that weekend.
No.
You can remember that
I
clearly.
I'm pretty sure I remember that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's talk about those food stamps. Those food stamps, didn't that, they sell you some food stamps when they were in Kayla's mother's home?
I don't know where they were at. I just bought the food stamps.
Okay. How about when they were at the fit shelter? Okay.
I probably did. I don't know where they were at I didn't go. I don't remember where I went to see them for them to give me the card.
Okay. Your Audi had a clutch, right?
Yes.
And the problem with the clutch, if somebody turns on the battery without turning on the car, the battery just runs down.
Yes.
And otherwise, you have to put in the clutch and have it in neutral or whatever and turn it on and keep it in neutral. And then it can run for a long time and the heat stays on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And Kayla didn't seem to know that, and the car broke down.
Yes.
Well, the car battery died.
Battery died.
Okay. And okay. You said that the picture of your car was in this same condition, and it states exhibit for ID 22. Is it stricken? It's fine. I would agree if it wasn't. Was in the same condition as the last time you saw it, right?
Yes.
Because the last time you saw it, it had been sitting for a while.
It was worse. It was worse.
Okay. But when you had it at Colonial Village, it was in good condition.
Yes.
It was in real good condition.
Very good condition.
And you like to drive it around.
I mean, I drove it, yes, not to drive around.
Okay. And you kept it in good condition.
Yes.
You took care of it, right?
Yes.
And in November, late November, you had just been convicted of a crime. You had a suspended sentence on your head.
Okay, is she running out of things to say? I mean, didn't she prepare for this trial? Didn't she know this guy was going to be a witness? He's one of the main people that were connected to Adam and Harmony. He sold them drugs. He gave them the car. He probably interacted with them as regularly as anybody would that sells drugs. And these people probably didn't have a lot of money. So they were probably buying like 20 sacks all the time or whatever. I can't imagine them giving, $500 for a mass amount and then staying away. So yeah, we're going to listen to it, but this lady, I don't know who thinks the defense is doing well, but every time I've heard her, she's just like floundering around.
And you didn't want to be caught driving that car without a license again, right?
True.
So you had other people help you drive.
Sometimes.
Okay. Adam was one of those other people.
Yeah, he has driven the car, yeah.
Okay. And Adam knew how to drive a clutch, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because and your clutch, because he had driven that car.
Blah, 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 blah. That's what I hear. Wah, 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 wah.
I think you said on direct that you saw Harmony twice at Guilford Avenue.
No, one time at Guilford Avenue.
And what was the other time?
Before that, the day he took me to court in August.
Oh, so she was in the car.
Yes.
Okay. And with the boys.
Yes.
And at Guilford Avenue, she was there and playing with the boys.
Yes.
And you said that Kayla and Adam needed a place to stay Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
And when they came and told you that they needed a place to stay, you said that you would let them stay in your car for 2 nights.
I didn't specifically say 2 nights. I said they can stay in my vehicle, but they happen to only stay 2 nights.
Okay.
2 days, 2 whole days.
Okay. And one of those nights it ran out, the battery got drained.
From what they say, the first night, yes.
Okay. And
Confused. I think he's confused. I think that might be what she's trying
you
to
are
do.
saying that you did not go down and see them sort of squatting in the parking lot at Colonial Village.
No.
In their Seabird.
No, I did not.
And you are saying that you did not go down on a daily or every other day basis to connect with the family and see Harmony and wave to her?
No.
And you are saying that Harmony did not wave to you during that time?
I didn't see they didn't have Harmony with them.
Pardon?
They did not have Harmony with them
Okay. When?
when they came to see me.
On those 2 days or before those 2 days?
It depends when you're talking about.
Ever.
Okay. Did you ever, are you saying you did sometimes go down to the car to see them?
I'm pretty sure I went down a couple of times each day,
Okay. Okay.
but each time they did not have the girl with them. It was
Okay.
only the boys.
And when you were questioned by the police, they actually played a recording of Kayla's statement, right?
Yes.
And they played a recording of Kayla talking about
You see how he looked at the judge? Like, come on, what? And now they're approaching the bench. The judge is like, come on, get it together, lady. Like, did you prepare your questions, or did you see that look? He looked at the judge like, is this for real? What are we doing here? I wish we could hear what they're saying. I'm gonna fast forward it though, because I can't handle this.
and you never waved to Harmony,
Did.
and that you did.
Why is she stuck on him waving at Harmony? Like, what is him waving at Harmony or seeing her? Everybody said that Harmony was always under a blanket all the time. She either had a blanket on her lap or they hid her. They hid her, not hit.
So they played a section of Kayla's statement, and you got pretty upset with that, right?
I guess.
Got pretty upset with what you were hearing.
I guess, yes.
And you said that you never saw Harmony
I never did.
and that you didn't go down there.
Let's
daily.
go. When did I not see Harmony? You're just saying I didn't see Harmony, but where? When?
At the Colonial Village.
No.
And that you didn't go down to the car on a daily basis. Right?
Well, 2 days they stood in the car. I went down at least a couple of times each day.
For 2 days, you went down a couple of times.
At least
each
a
day?
couple of times, yes.
Those 2 days.
Those 2 days.
Okay. And you're saying you never waved to Harmony,
Never.
never waved to the boys. Overruled.
I'm telling you, she wasn't in the car. How can I wave to someone that's not in the car?
Did you wave to the boys?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
Okay.
The boys loved me.
So you would when you would go down there, you would see the boys and wave.
Of course.
And you want to have nothing to do with this investigation or Harmony, right?
It's not the way you're making it sound. I want to help you guys.
Who?
The prosecution helped find who killed that little girl.
Okay, so one of the things before they stayed in your car was you drove Adam and Kayla and the kids to get clothes out of their broken down car.
I don't recall that. I don't think I ever did that. Okay. I'm not sure, but I don't recall I ever did that.
Okay.
Why would I? No. I wouldn't stuff my car with anything. Let's put it like that.
You wouldn't know what?
I would not stuff my car with a whole bunch of furniture or bags or anything like that.
Okay, so bags that were from a car that people had lived in for 7 days, you never got them and packed them into your car.
I don't recall ever doing that. No, I do not.
And so you don't recall taking Adam or Kayla or Adam and Kayla or Adam and Kayla and the boys?
No matter how you put it, I don't recall.
Okay. And
no matter how you put it, lady, no. Them, him, them, all of them, Harmony, the boys, Adam, Kayla, Say it backwards.
The food that you brought them, you said Thanksgiving leftovers, right?
Yes.
And then pizza.
Yes.
And Thanksgiving, if you had them in your car for around the 8th, Thanksgiving was over a week before, right?
Well, of course, that would be right.
Okay. Thanksgiving was about 10 days before that, right?
I guess. I don't know what you're talking
Are
about.
we doing
And
math?
actually, you gave
I love this guy.
the family Thanksgiving leftovers when they first came to Colonial Village in the Sebring.
No,
You didn't give them,
there was no Sebring.
okay.
They stood in my car. If they had their Sebring, they would have stood in their own car, wouldn't you think?
Okay. And you're saying that they did not park out in Colonial Village for 10 days prior to living in your Sebring?
I don't own a Sebring, and if they did bring the car to the parking lot, then I didn't know that either.
Okay.
They telling me they have no place to live. I let them stay in my car 2 days. That's
And
all they stood. They left.
I do want to correct. I did say Sebring and I meant the Audi.
Okay.
So you're saying that you did not see the Sebring in Colonial Village for the 10 days leading up to when they stayed in your Audi?
I didn't see the car, no.
Okay. You said that the boys loved you. Had
Yes,
you
they
seen the boys
I have
for
not
more
seen-
than those 2 times before?
Before and after, yes.
Before?
Yeah.
When did you see the boys before?
I saw
they stayed?
Adam came to see me one time with the oldest one.
Pardon?
Adam came to see me one time with the oldest one.
Okay. And how about the others?
I guess the other one, they were with Kayla, I guess.
Okay. What I'm asking, so now that's 3 times.
No, that's
that
not 3
you-
times I saw Harmony. No.
Okay.
Don't get it confused.
I'm not.
I only saw her 2 times.
I'm backing up.
Okay.
Okay. First time you saw Harmony, she was with her brothers.
Yes.
Second time you saw Harmony, she was with her brothers.
Yes.
You're talking about another time that you see the brother, but not Harmony.
Yes.
How many other times did you see that brother?
Plenty of times.
When?
Throughout the whole time I knew them.
Okay. Did you see the boy prior, more than those 3 times that we're talking about?
When are you referring to? Before Harmony went missing or after Harmony went missing?
I'm trying to get there. Before the 8th, when they stayed in your Audi, had you seen the son more than 3 times?
Of course.
When?
I can't tell you exactly when, but I've seen the boys with them.
In the 10 days prior to staying in the Audi, you saw the boys with them?
I can't tell you exactly how many days prior to the day I let them stay in the car, but I did see them. Yeah.
Okay.
I seen the boys.
Okay.
Not the boys. Let me correct that. The boy. The boy. There was only one boy with him.
And what circumstance did you see that boy? Was Kayla coming up to see you and bringing her son with her?
No, Adam came to see me with the boy.
Okay, so Adam would come up to see you and he'd bring his son.
Yeah.
Okay. And did they ever come in to use the bathroom or maybe clean up their kids?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bodero.
You're welcome.
Wow. That was it, huh? All right. So we got through that awful, awful testimony. Definitely, he was a state witness. prosecution brought him on, she tried to discredit Kayla the entire time. I mean, she confused me. Now, if I was the jury and I know what's going on without a map, I get it. I usually understand the overview by listening to bits and pieces of everything. And if I was a juror, I would be confused as to what she's trying to do. Now, I understand the underlying thing that she was trying to do, but do you really need to do that for 45 minutes? So, yeah, let's see if there's a redirect here on this one. If there is, we'll watch it.
Call selling them drugs that weekend. I don't.
You with his oldest son.
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
Don't recall exactly when, but it was before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving.
You said that the 2 days they were staying in your car, that you remember that clearly, that you didn't sell drugs to them. You were very clear on that. Why is that?
Because it's like it's a family weekend. Like I don't recall selling them drugs that weekend. I don't even recall me having drugs.
Mr. Bodero, let me ask you this. How many times have you allowed a family to stay in your vehicle?
I never have. That was the first time.
Was that the only time?
First and only time, yes.
Does that stand out to you?
Well, I remember, yeah.
The defense asked you about letting people drive your car. You didn't have a license, is my understanding. Is that right?
Yes.
And the defense attorney asked about letting people drive your car. I want to follow up on that. You said that you'd occasionally allow folks to drive for you.
Not really. I would drive myself. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't have a license, but I would drive myself.
Do you recall telling investigators that I didn't let anyone drive my car? I didn't let them drive it. Do you recall telling investigators that?
I'm pretty sure I did, yeah.
The them that you were referring to, is that the defendant and Kayla?
Well, I wouldn't lend them my car if that's what they were. I don't know what y'all really trying to say by that, but I would never have lent them my car. Yeah, I recall a time he drove me somewhere in my own car, yes. But I've never lent him my car to just be on their own and drive my car.
And the time that you're talking about where you lent him your car and let him drive you somewhere, when was that?
I don't even recall, sir.
Do you recall whether there was snow on the ground, whether it was hot or warm outside?
I don't remember any of that.
So now
you mentioned seeing the two boys,
yes,
and them waving at you, you waving back.
He's trying to make Kayla.
Were you referring to the 2 days that they were staying in that the boys were staying in your vehicle, or was that some other time?
Actually, yeah, that was some other time. I was just, whenever they saw me, they waved to me. They said hi. I would grab them, hug them. I can't recall every time they said they waved to me. That's what all kids do. They say hi.
Thank you, Mr. Bodero. No additional questions.
From afar, if the kid. Okay. And when you interacted with the boys, it wasn't just waving. I think you'd say that they came up and they would hug you.
Yes.
So it wasn't just a wave from afar. If the kids were around, you came up to them and interacted.
All the time.
Okay. Oh.
Why does that matter? I mean, I get she's trying to break it down a little more because he said they waved. But I wish he would be more direct. Yes, her again. Yes, it's her again. It's almost over. This one, Yeah.
No further questions.
Oh, thank God.
You may sit down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Celebration time. I was like pulling teeth.
Your Honor,
All right, this is done. That was a amazing witness that could have gone a lot farther, I think, for the defense. So, yeah, this trial it's definitely, I got some more gray hairs here from listening to it. Every time I listen to it and it go on the defense, I mean, there's better times than others. I'm like, okay, she caught her up on that, like Kayla, she got her, and Kayla wasn't crying. She was very matter of fact. She was almost like they were bothering her. But then as soon as they got back onto the state prosecution where she had, well, I guess partial immunity. I'm not sure. I think actually she doesn't have immunity. There you go. Yes, I do. You text me and you tell me when. So yeah, she did some damage in discrediting Kayla. She's definitely good at tripping people up because she's tripping me up. I'm like, what is I don't have a map. I'm not drawing it, and I'm sure the jurors aren't like drawing a picture of the snowbank and the car and then erasing it and showing the sun. And then, now I know the state asked that. Was it raining? Was it sunny? Was it what? And only reason he asked that is because the defense was trying to get to that, and they never did. They were trying to decide about the bank, if the body was on the snowbanks where they hit her, and she didn't get to it or bring it. So, that was like pulling teeth. And yes, I am now understanding why I can't fully listen to this all day, because the volume goes up, it goes down. So these recaps help me. And I love listening to trials all day, but the recaps give you a good idea of, it's like a football game. When you tune in, you can't watch the football game, but you can check the score. And this is kind of checking the score. So my perspective of checking the score is when I have Kayla come on and I have her mom come on, and I go back and forth, and it gives you guys a good idea, the people that are watching, what's happening, how it's going, who you think is winning. It's all our opinion. We're not the jury. So we're going to let these clips, this testimony, the state and the prosecution, from what you heard, decide, so that when we do read a verdict, you can say, oh, okay. So I will definitely be covering the verdict when it happens. I'm always on verdict watch. So I'll definitely be on verdict watch for this case. And I really hope that I catch the verdict right away. I think I will, because I usually do. And this case is important to me. So I'll be on verdict watch. I'm reading the comments. She was snowballs and near the dumpster. Saw it today. It was a good visual. That's good. That's a good thing, is to see the visuals when you actually can watch it. Because even if I was listening to it, I couldn't watch it all day. Unfortunately, I have to work. So hopefully I can create a bunch of content and be here more often. Eventually, if I get enough subscribers, this is my love and my passion, why I do it. Right now, obviously, no monetization or anything, just me sharing with you. So the more we get out there, the better it's going to be. Hit the like, subscribe, share. I've got quite a bit of views, and I went from 0 to, I think I'm on 88 or 90 subscribers, and I've only been doing this for a couple weeks here, so it's really good. For me, that's good. Oh, wow, I'm at 90 subscribers now, from 0 to 90 in less than 2 weeks. And yeah, so I'm happy about that. That means that I could, it is. Thank you. I feel like that too. I just did this because I love it, and I watch true crime all the time. I examine it, I study it, all that, my whole life. So I wanted to share it and just see what happens. And yeah, I feel like there's some people that like listening to me. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe, please share it. And let's get out of this view here. I can say a proper goodbye to all of you. Sadie's mama, I don't know who else is here because they're not quite interacting. But what do you think about my background? I kind of like the real background. Not to all the great YouTubers that use the backgrounds and everything. It's cool. I appreciate it, but I love real backgrounds. Maybe it's just the old school thing. I like seeing the dogs pop up in the back, and I love the depth and the images. So I'm going to keep using that for a while. And maybe when I get more followers, then I'll change it to something really cool and trippy and not realistic. So anyway, I changed the live to 4:30. We're going to do a bloody Valentine. For those of you that like Valentine's Day, still, please stop and watch it. It probably won't be longer than 45 minutes. But it's called A Bloody Love Story, and it's about a Google employee charged with murder after beating his wife. Now, keep in mind here, I am in the Bay Area, and which the Bay Area, you might not even know what that means to you, but Bay Area is Silicon Valley, San Jose. I'm in the heart of San Jose, and that is Santa Clara County. This happened in Santa Clara. So keep that in mind. This is the Silicon Valley. It is Google. I'm right down the street from Google, and this is a Google employee charged with that. So local case, we're going to show the bloody house and some things that went on, some interviews, and I have some pictures to show you and talk about this case. 4:30, I'll be back on live. Thank you, everybody that joined. Like, subscribe, share, all this stuff, and I will see you in about 45 minutes. Thank you. See you soon.